module of BioWorld. Today we are going to begin the new chapter, chapter 4, Keeping Diseases Away. What is disease? Let's see. A particular condition which is abnormal that adversely affects the structure and function which produce specific symptoms are called diseases. We are in midst of plethora of diseases nowadays. Am I right? Latest among them is COVID-19, which has entirely changed our lifestyle and living pattern. Diseases can be broadly classified into communicable diseases and non-communicable diseases. Communicable disease means the disease that spreads very easily. For example, chicken pox, cholera, etc. Whereas the non-communicable diseases, they won't spread from one person to another. For example, diabetes, hypertension, cancer, etc. Now let's see pathogens. Pathogens are certain organisms that cause diseases. For example, bacteria, viruses, fungi, protozoa like organisms. Now let's see what is a vector. Vector is an organism or an agent which spreads this pathogen to different organisms. So vector is an agent that transmits these pathogens to various living organisms. For example, cockroaches, the scary creature, then rat, housefly and mosquito. How can we prevent such communicable diseases? Proper disposal of waste, reduce the use of plastic, keep our environment clean, keep our water body resources clean and neat. Water body resources means the rivers, oceans, beaches, etc. We have to keep it clean without littering it with plastics and other non-biodegradable waste. We have to maintain a proper personal hygiene in order to prevent such communicable diseases.
So let's begin our new lesson, chapter 4, Keeping Diseases Away. Dear students, in this chapter we are going to study about the types of diseases, pathogens, different types of vectors, mode of transmission of diseases, method to prevent various diseases, treatments, animal diseases, and finally plant diseases. Now let's see what is a disease. The disease is a particular abnormal condition that adversely affects the structure or function that produces specific symptoms. It can be broadly classified as communicable diseases, for example, cholera, chickenpox, and non-communicable diseases, for example, diabetes and hypertension. So, what is a disease? A particular abnormal condition that adversely means very badly, affects the structure or function which produce a specific symptom. So, it is an abnormal condition which badly affects our structure and function of our body. It can be broadly classified as communicable, that means disease which spreads very fastly and widely, and non-communicable diseases, that means not spreading. Okay, so two types of diseases, communicable and non-communicable. Now let's see what is a pathogen. Pathogen is an organism that causes diseases. For example, bacteria, virus, fungus and protozoa. These are the examples of various pathogens. Now let's see what is a vector. Vector is an agent which carries and transmits pathogen into another living organism. So they are acting as an agent or mediator who carries these pathogens to another living organism. The common vectors are housefly, mosquitoes, cockroaches and rats. Now let's see some mode of transmission of some diseases which is common. So from the infected person, from a diseased person, the pathogens can be transmitted in different way. Either through direct contact or through contaminated food and water or through unsterilized equipments like needles and syringes, through cough and sneezing, through vectors and through clothes. So these are the major modes of transmission of diseases. Now let's move to each category. First we go through the bacterial diseases. What is a bacteria? Bacteria is a unicellular microbe, a single-celled organism. They are basically prokaryotes without a proper nucleus. They differ in shape as well as in size. So very primitive member under the domain prokaryotes. They differ in shape and size. Here you can see the examples of various bacteria. They differ in shape and size. Now let's see the uses of bacteria in our day-to-day life. Bacteria play a key role in fermentation process. For example, fermenting the batter of idli, dosa. In addition to that, it also helps in brewing process, that is in beer and wine industry. In baking process, that for making bread and bread related products, cheese and butter manufacturing. So it is known as fermentation process. Next, use of bacteria in chemical manufacturing process. For example, production of ethanol, acetone, organic acid, enzymes and perfumes. They are used widely in various industries. Bacteria is also used in pharmaceutical industries such as for manufacturing antibiotics, vaccines and steroids. Some of the bacteria produces energy which is widely used for conversion of biodegradable substance into biogas. Next application or use of bacteria is the most important one. They are acting as decomposers, helping in nutrient cycling as well as sewage management. A set of bacteria which we widely use for bioremediation, that means which helps in pollution cleanup. For example, bacteria such as superbugs which are widely used in cleaning the oil spills in oceans and other water bodies. Now let's move to the harmful bacteria, that is pathogenic bacteria, which causes diseases. The first disease we are going to discuss is about rat fever. It is also known as leptospirosis. The pathogen is Leptospira Bacteria and the mode of infection is bacteria that enter the body and multiply through binary fission results in production of toxin. Toxin means poison, which causes destruction of cells and cause diseases. So how the bacteria attack our cells? They enter the body and multiply through binary fission. So the mode of reproduction in bacteria is binary fission. As a result of cellular metabolism, they dump waste in our cell called toxin, which causes the destruction of our cell and finally result in diseases. Now let's see the mode of transmission. Usually the Leptospira Bacteria spread through the stagnant water and moisture contaminated with urine of rat as well as dog. The symptoms include toxin causes damage to blood capillary that leads to internal bleeding, severe fever, headache, muscle pain and redness of eyes. So what is rat fever? Rat fever is also known as leptospirosis. Leptospirosis, and the name of pathogen. Pathogen means the particular bacteria that cause the disease is Leptospira Bacteria. And how it causes disease? They enter our body and multiply through binary fission, which results in production of toxin. So they are dumping the waste in the form of toxin, which disturb the function of our cell, and finally it will result in diseases. And how they spread? They spread through stagnant water or moisture contaminated with urine of rat as well as dog. And what are the symptoms of the leptospirosis? The bleeding, internal bleeding. How is it caused? Due to damage of blood capillary. Then severe fever, headache, muscle pain and redness of eyes. Immunization and proper medication is necessary to fight against the disease. Next one is Leptospira Bacteria. It is spiral shaped bacteria. These are the pictures. Now let's move to the next disease, diphtheria. Diphtheria is another bacterial disease. The name of the pathogen is Corynebacterium diphtheriae. What is the name of pathogen that causes diphtheria? Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Corynebacterium diphtheriae. The mode of transmission, how they spread, is through air and direct contact. Through air and direct contact. Action of pathogen. These bacteria affects the mucous membrane of nose and throat. The symptoms include inflammation in throat resulting in thick coating. And how we can prevent the disease? By taking vaccine. Tdap, Dtap, Dt and Td are the major vaccine which we use to defend diphtheria. So this is the bacteria, Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Where it affects? It affects the mucous membrane of throat as well as the nose. Here you can see a deposition or coating which result in inflammation of throat, and finally it feels some irritation inside the throat region. Next disease is tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is a bacterial disease and the pathogen is known as Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Mycobacterium tuberculosis. The mode of transmission is through air. So when a person, infected person coughs or sneezes, the molecules or the droplets get in contact with air, and those who inhale this air have the chance of getting the infection. So mode of transmission through air, and the pathogen affects on lungs, kidneys, bones and joints as well as brain. Symptoms include loss of body weight, fatigue means some sort of tiredness, persistent cough, continuous cough, that is the symptom of tuberculosis, and the vaccine is BCG. Treatment by administering antibiotics. So the name of the pathogen which causes tuberculosis is Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and it spreads through air, and it affects on the major organs like lungs, and later it spreads to kidney, bones, joints and brain. The symptom includes loss of body weight, fatigue or tiredness, persistent cough. And how can we prevent the disease? By taking the vaccine BCG. If the person gets infected, we can treat in early stage by administering proper medication. That means by taking antibiotics. So this is the picture showing Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Now let's get familiarized with certain bacterial diseases in humans. Plague, cholera, meningitis, tetanus, leprosy, scarlet fever, tooth decay. These are some of the bacterial diseases apart from diphtheria, tuberculosis, rat fever. Now let's move to the next pathogen, virus. Unlike bacteria, viruses are pathogenic. Bacteria, some are very useful to us, which give a lot of help in our day-to-day life. But viruses are purely pathogenic. Let's see the features. Virus has very simple structure with RNA or DNA within a protein coat. So very simple celled structure they are having. Only two things they possess, a protein coat as well as a genetic material, either DNA or RNA. So two things they are having, either the genetic material with the protein coat. Cell organelles are absent. So they are very active once they enter into the host body. How they destroy or cause the disease, destroy the host or cause disease? Virus multiplies by taking control over the genetic mechanism of the host. As I mentioned earlier, since they don't have any cell organelles, they can live only inside the host body. They are active inside the host body. So they take control over the genetic mechanism of host cell. They can infect humans, animals, plants and even bacteria. Now let's see the structure of virus. Here you can see a powerful protein coat with a genetic material RNA. Here this is an RNA based virus, that's why it is labeled as RNA. But in some virus, instead of RNA, DNA is present. So simple structure with a protein coat and a genetic material, either a DNA or RNA. Let's move to the first viral disease, Nipah. So this is a Nipah virus, and how they spread among the human population. This is a simple illustration which shows how the virus spreads from one organism to the other. So the vector of Nipah virus is bat. So fruit eating bats are the vectors of Nipah virus. The leftover fruit eaten by these bats, either eaten by human beings or by some animals like pigs. So the saliva and urine of bat is contaminated with this virus. So they get into the body of animals, especially the pigs and human beings. In this way, they spread from person to person. So who is the vector here? Bat. So pathogen is Nipah virus. It is known as NIV. Mode of transmission through contaminated food and contact. Vectors are bats. Symptoms include acute respiratory illness, that means severe respiratory problems, fatal encephalitis. Encephalitis is a brain inflammation. Fatal means severe. So the brain damage occurs due to inflammation. Why? Because this virus attacks our brain and lungs. How can we prevent? By avoiding exposure to bats and sick pigs. So pigs we usually rear in farms in order to get meat. So the sick pigs should be isolated, otherwise it may cause widespread among the population. And not drinking raw date palm sap. Date palm sap is the toddy, which is the juice obtained from tender inflorescence of palm. So all these are contaminated with the bats, which are acting as the carrier of Nipah virus. So bats are the vectors. Moving to the next viral disease, AIDS. AIDS means acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. AIDS is the abbreviation. The expansion is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. The pathogen that causes AIDS is HIV, human immunovirus, HIV. Mode of transmission through body fluids, that is mainly through blood. Mode of attack, the virus multiplies using the genetic mechanism of lymphocytes. So which cells are prone for the attack of this HIV virus? Lymphocytes. Lymphocytes are one of the smallest WBC, which are the powerful soldiers in our body. They are very active and smart in killing the pathogens which are trying to get into our body. So where this virus attack, it attacked directly on the lymphocyte. As a result, the number of lymphocytes decreases drastically and hence our immunity power is reduced. So the person may prone to different diseases simultaneously. Simultaneously means at the same time. Since the body is very weak and less immunity power, they are subject to various diseases at a time. So there won't be any particular treatment for a particular disease because all the diseases came at the same time. Mode of transmission of AIDS, how they are spreading. I said it is mainly through body fluids, that is through blood, which are the possible way, through sexual contact with HIV infected person, from HIV infected mother to fetus, by sharing the needles and syringes contaminated with HIV components, through the reception of blood and organs contaminated with HIV. So basically it is through the body fluid blood, but which are the circumstances that cause contaminated blood to another person's body? Through sexual contact, through needles and syringes, from mother to fetus, and through blood donation or organ donation. Now let's see which are the activities that do not spread the AIDS. Very, very important. There are so many misbelief and misconceptions of spreading AIDS. The mode or method of spreading AIDS: by touch, shaking hands, coughing, sneezing, etc. do not spread AIDS. Through insects like mosquitoes and houseflies, it won't spread. By staying together with AIDS patients or by sharing food among them, won't spread the disease. Then by using the same toilet or by taking bath in the same pond may also won't spread the AIDS. World AIDS Day. December 1st is observed as World AIDS Day. The logo is the red ribbon which give awareness to how to prevent and the necessary precautions we have to take to prevent the disease. So prevention is better than cure, especially when something has no cure. Since there is no full cure or full treatment for this disease, the disease cannot be cured completely. We have to take necessary precautions to prevent the AIDS. What is the difference between HIV and AIDS? HIV is the name of the pathogen. HIV is the name of the pathogen, human immunodeficiency virus. The expansion is human immunodeficiency virus. It attacks our immune system. Then what is AIDS? AIDS is the name of the disease, acquired immune deficiency syndrome. It is a medical condition in which our immune system become too weak to fight infection. So what is the difference between HIV and AIDS? HIV is the name of the pathogen and AIDS is the name of the disease. Now let's move to the next disease caused by the virus, that is hepatitis. Hepatitis is a disease related to the organ liver. So liver is attacked by the virus which causes the disease hepatitis. So there also the disease spreads through body fluids. So unsafe injections and medical procedures, unsafe sex, mother to child transmission and injecting drug use, all these are the method or the mode of transmission of hepatitis virus. So hepatitis is spreads through body fluids, and which are the situation? Unsafe injections and medical procedures, unsafe sex, from mother to infected mother to child, and injecting drug use. So how someone can get hepatitis? As I said earlier, by using unsterilized equipments. For example, it is mainly through direct blood contact or through unsafe sex or from mother to child, infected mother to child, or the household contact like sharing equipments like razor, toothbrushes, earrings, etc. from the infected person. Then tattoos, piercing, then from barbers, then scarification, etc. Those tattoo like procedures. Then unsterile healthcare practices, then sharing needles, all these pave way to the transmission of hepatitis virus. Let's see some symptoms of the disease. Abdominal pain, that is body pain, especially the abdomen region. Then jaundice, that is yellowish color of the skin and especially the white color of our eye turns to yellow. Then nausea or vomiting, always have a tendency to vomit, that is known as nausea, and frequently vomiting will be followed by nausea. Then swollen abdomen, the stomach region or the belly part become inflamed or swollen, that means bulged out. Itchy skin, that means irritations in the skin, and weight loss. These are the major symptoms of hepatitis. There are some other hepatitis caused by other pathogens, but here we are discussing about the hepatitis caused by virus. Some other reasons are consuming alcohol, then cigarette smoking, that also causes damage to the liver cells and finally result in hepatitis. But here we are discussing the hepatitis caused by virus. Now let's see some methods to prevent the disease. Use only sterile equipments for injections and other medical procedures. Test all donated blood and blood components and make sure that it is free from hepatitis virus. Promote the use of hepatitis B vaccine. Develop safer sex practices. So by following this method we can prevent the viral spread. Now let's get familiarized with certain other viral diseases which is quite common among the human population. They are dengue fever, chikungunya, chickenpox, smallpox, measles, flu or commonly known as influenza, mumps, rubella, common cold, polio, rabies and Ebola. So these are the major viral disease among the human population. I repeat, dengue fever, chikungunya, which is commonly spread by the mosquitoes, chickenpox, smallpox, measles, then flu or influenza, then mumps, rubella, common cold, polio, rabies, Ebola, and nowadays the most prominent one, COVID-19.
Now let's see some methods to eradicate mosquitoes. So we can eradicate mosquitoes by using mosquito nets, mosquito repellents, that means various products which repel the mosquitoes. Nowadays we are commonly using some natural repellents like neem oils, then camphor, then some artificial products like good night, etc. So all these are known as repellents. Then keep our premises clean and neat so that mosquito can't breed their population. Then next one is the most important one, observing dry day. So dry day means keep our surroundings clean, and at the same time inside the home also there won't be giving any chance for mosquito to lay the eggs. Even a single drop of water is enough for mosquito to breed its population, to lay the eggs. So the dry day is very important. Keep the indoors and outdoors clean and prevent the logging of water, especially stagnation of water. Soon after raining, the mosquito starts its breeding, laying eggs. Why? Because of the presence of water. So make sure that before the rainy season we should clean our premises very well in order to prevent the breeding of mosquito population. So children, I hope you have understood today's concepts. Let me wind up here. Thank you.